What's up, puppy? You wanna say hi? Here, paws up. There you go. You spoiled brat. Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Connor, and today I'm going to be continuing my 2016 reading wrap-up with books 106 through 110. I'm actually having a really good run of books where I'm really enjoying everything that I'm reading, so the ratings are going to reflect that. You guys know the drill, so let's just get started. The 106th thing that I read this year is going to be Half the World by Abercrombie. This is the second book in the Shattered Sea trilogy that he wrote. In the first book, it follows a boy who is half a king because his father and his brother have just passed away, but he's considered half a king because he has a disfigured hand, and people don't really respect him too much, and then adventure ensues from there. I wasn't too impressed by that book. I think I gave it 3 or 3.5 stars, but then I ended up reading this book and I actually really enjoyed it. This book follows 2 different characters. The character from the first book is still in it, but it mainly focuses on these 2 new ones, and I liked their perspectives and I really liked their story a lot more than the first book, so I ended up giving this book 4 stars, and I hope to finish the trilogy at some point this year. The next book I read is Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians, The Dark Talent, which is the 5th book in the Alcatraz series by Sanderson. I have talked about this book so much on my channel recently. I feel like I'm a broken record player, but I absolutely love this book. I ended up giving it 5 stars, and I've also already filmed a book review for the entire series, and that will be coming out in a few days. So if you want to know more of my thoughts on this book, I will leave a link to this review down below and then the card symbol, and you can check that out when you want to. The next book I read is Valley of Embers by Kelliher. This is the first book in the Landkiss Saga series. I was sent this book by the author in exchange for a review, which I have since done, and I will leave that again in the card symbol and down below, and you can check that out. It follows a boy named Cole who lives in this society where people are born with superpowers and they're called land-kissed. He is land-kissed by the desert, and so he's able to wield flames on his swords. His society that he lives in is in danger of a third-party threat, and so he decides to do whatever he can to save his people. I really enjoyed this book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I really liked the world building and the different powers and the different populations within this world, but I tended to get lost in the scenes and I didn't really know what each scene looked like, and so when the characters would interact with stuff that I didn't know was there, I would get thrown off for a little bit and then I'd have to jump back into the story. So I ended up giving it 4 stars. The next book I read is The Call of the Wild by Jack London. This is a children's classic book, and I, for some reason, never read this. It follows a dog named Buck who is a German Shepherd, or just a Shepherd, and Saint Bernard mix. Nook, shut up! I don't know why every time I talk about this book, Nook starts to make noise. It is the weirdest thing. Anyway, this dog is dog-napped and he's sent up north where he joins a sled dog team, and it just follows his life and the crazy things that happen. I thought this book really portrayed a dog's perspective really well. I pictured Rock as this dog because this dog acts exactly how Rock acts. He growls when people pet him, and the way that I think a dog would think is exactly what this book is. I really like that it's also really fast-paced. It's really short. It's like 130 pages or something like that, and so it's very quick moving. But then again, that's also a con because I felt like I was reading a summary, like a full synopsis for a book, and not an actual book, if that makes sense. I ended up giving it 4 stars because I really enjoyed the story and I really liked seeing how realistic that dog was, but I also had my problems with it, so 4 stars. And the 110th thing that I read this year is going to be The Fox by Sherwood. This is the second book in the Inda Quartet. This series follows a bunch of different characters that are set in this one kingdom. I did a non-spoiler book review for the first book, and I'll leave that in the card symbol and down below because it has a very complicated world and every character has like 8 names. I'm kidding. They have like 4. With this series, each book is pretty long, but each book is 2 books basically put into one. So there's always a big event in the middle of each book, and then the second book of the book has another big event that happens at the end. So I feel like this book is really 2 books, and I felt like that in the first book as well. One thing about this book is that I really love that Sherwood Smith allows the plot to go wherever it ends up going. She's not afraid to do things that are not in a lot of other fantasy books. I'm trying not to spoil any things, but I really liked that natural feel that she gave the books. I ended up enjoying this one a bit more than the first book, so I gave it 4 stars, so I didn't have any books below 4 stars this round. This is Sam from Sam's Nonsense's favorite series, or one of her favorite series, and so she said that the 3rd book is her favorite in the series, so I'm pretty darn excited to get to the 3rd book and continue this story and see where all the characters are going to end up. So those were the next 5 things that I read in 2016. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and comment down below what you've been reading recently, or if you have any recommendations for me ever, make sure to leave those down below. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.